He's in the main event. It's the rematch from 6 years ago. Dustin Poirier taking on Conor McGregor, UFC 257. How at peace are you with that first fight? Obviously, people talk about how different it was, but in the back of your head, you know you've been in there with him before and you felt his power and all of that, although at a different weight class.
You know, the past has made me the person I am right here in front of you, and I'm at peace with it.
How do you get to that place where all of that stuff is kind of behind you and you've moved on? Again, I mean, time heals all wounds. It has been a long time.
Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. Time heals all wounds, and I just pick myself back up, dust myself off, keep rolling with the punches, keep learning, keep getting better, and that's how I've always, you know, overcome any loss in my career. Is just get back in the gym and work harder.
And the
Try not to make the
circumstances,
same mistakes again.
yeah, the circumstances are so different this time around. I mean, at the time, you guys were both young fighters. Conor McGregor, whenever he was lined up with somebody, people were like, well, this guy's not taking what's mine. I've worked to get to this spot. Who does this guy think he is? Nobody really knew how good he was at the time. Now you're established. He's established. It just gets rid of that whole kind of narrative, that the whole, which person's going to end up rising. You guys are both at the top of the game.
Yeah, like you said, we've established ourselves. This is two of the best fighters in the world, in their primes, competing for 25 minutes. The fans should be excited.
And the other circumstance was the weight cut. Last time we spoke, I believe you said you cut something like 30 something pounds to get down to 145 for that fight.
I'm not sure exactly the pounds for that one, but I have cut 30 pounds to make 145 in the past. I'm not sure if that particular fight I cut that much, but it was at least 20.
And that was your last fight at 45. That was when you said, this weight class is it's a bit too much for me in terms of the weight cut.
Yeah, I was kind of sticking around because I was so close to a title shot, and after that L, I knew I'd have to fight, a few more times to get back in that position to be in line for a title shot, and it didn't make sense to keep stressing my body and cutting that much weight if I wasn't going to be next in line to fight for that belt.
It's interesting because you look at when McGregor beat Alvarez, became the champion. Since then, you look at your strength of schedule, it's got to be the toughest schedule that anybody in the UFC's had. You're talking Alvarez twice, Holloway, Khabib, obviously, Justin Gaethje. I mean, I don't think anybody's had a tougher schedule than you have the last 4 years. And then you look at what he's done. He has the boxing match with Mayweather, the fight with Khabib, and then 40 seconds with Cerrone. It's hard to really gauge how much improvements he's made, while yours have been right out there in the forefront.
Yeah, I've been busy, and I've been in some scraps, and I've been evolving. But I'm going to keep in my mind that he's been in the gym as well, working hard, evolving, and we're both completely different fighters from that first fight.
It's funny. I spoke to Neil Magny probably about an hour ago, and he put it in such an interesting frame for me. When you've got an opponent, you're so focused on your opponent that when you don't have an opponent and you're just in the gym, you're focused on yourself. You've only fought only fought once in 2020. How important was it for you to have that kind of time to focus on Dustin Poirier?
Very, very important. He's right. I feel like the biggest learning, whenever you're in training camp preparing for fights, you're getting ready to beat a certain style of fighter. You're getting ready to perform. You're sharpening what you have and preparing for their, skill set. Between fights, like Neil was talking to you about, that's when you really grow. You're in the gym, trying new stuff, having fun. It's just a different kind of training atmosphere. So I understand completely what he's saying, and he's correct.
Does that make this kind of
But
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Fighting one time in 2020 might have been needed. With that active schedule and with these crazy fights, maybe I needed a little bit of time off. Might have been good for me.
Does this make it a tougher fight mentally for you, having such a small sample size of Conor at 155 pounds in general, and just from, again, the last 4 years, what we've seen from him, that there's probably a lot more tricks up his sleeve that we just have not seen yet.
He's crafty, man. He's unpredictable. In his fight with Cerrone, he came out very aggressive, throwing shoulder strikes. He's a good athlete. So I don't know what to expect, but I expect a competitive fight. I expect a well-rounded fighter at this point of his career, and I'm just excited to get in there.
He's predicted that he will knock you out inside of a minute. What you've said you would like to see happen is you want both of you guys to be kind of bloodied up at some point and have it be a test of wills. You've won so many of these tests of wills in the past, the Gaethje fight, the Alvarez fight. In this particular situation, how are you going to get it to become a test of wills? What's your strategy to get it to a point where it gets to that second level of the fight, where you're getting to second or third gear, and whoever hits fourth gear first is going to be the one who ends up being the winner? And in those fights, you have not lost them.
To be smart, to not fight with emotion, to use my skill set, and that's just it. To be smart in there.
I saw you did an interview with Luke Thomas where you write down the date of the fight and you make a circle and you write inside of the circle all the things you can control and outside of the circle are the things that you can't control. Your emotions are one of those things you can control. We all know that Conor McGregor has gotten into people's heads in the past. We've got about about 10 days before this fight. A lot can happen in those 10 days when you start seeing interviews that McGregor does. Are you going to avoid those interviews? Are you going to try to avoid his words for the most part during that time?
I see headlines and things like that, but I'm not searching for videos or interviews. And if I do run across one, I'm not watching it. I just know the game, where I'm at right now, the amount of fights I've had at this level. That's all noise.
Now, is there going to be some sort of press conference that's being lined up? I don't know if it's been announced as of yet.
I'm not sure. I have no clue. I haven't heard anything.
Another thing is that he's donating to your foundation as part of this. I mean, this has been as cordial of a fight as we've seen from Conor McGregor in the past. Do you almost feel like you need to build some animosity in your head towards this guy? Do you need to watch the first fight or something along those lines to say, okay, this guy's donating to my charity, but this is business?
No, I know what this is. I know when that bell rings next Saturday. I know what I'm in for. I have enough experience to be cool in the lead up and on fight night, be the guy I need to be.
Now, again, outside of your control, the odds for this fight, McGregor's a pretty heavy favorite. I believe he's around a 3-1 favorite in this fight. Do you feel like that's insulting to you? Because in my opinion, you've established yourself as the best guy in this division. If Khabib is hypothetically out of the picture, you're the guy. Like I said, I think you have the toughest strength of schedule anybody in the last 4 years. I don't think that you're going to find a lot of people that disagree with that. Do you find some disrespect in that? Do you think people are just thinking of the first fight and not thinking of the body of work since then?
Remember that circle we were talking about? That is outside of it.
So it doesn't matter. It's noise.
Yeah, exactly.
During this time, you've released your own hot sauce, Dustin Poirier's hot sauce. What is the hottest thing you've ever eaten? Look at that. A true salesman. You have it right on you. It's in the holster.
The hottest thing I've ever eaten would probably be, I was at this hot sauce shop in Louisiana, and they had a hot sauce called Satan's Blood, and that was the hottest thing that I've ever eaten in my life.
What did you have it on, or did you just eat it on its own?
It was crazy. To try it, I had to sign a waiver, and then they dipped a toothpick in it, and they told me not to let the toothpick touch my lips. And so I just took the tiny, you couldn't even see, that's how small the amount was on the toothpick, and then put it on my tongue and ablaze.
You might need some of that before the fight, just to get the adrenaline going. Just a little bit of Satan's blood to get it. I don't know if that's banned by USADA or not in competition.
Yeah, I don't want to find out. I'll leave that stuff alone.
Yeah, I certainly don't blame you. Now this is a fight where, with a win, it'll really enhance your legacy long term. Conor McGregor is going to be one of the all-time great combat sports, competitors of all time. And if you beat him, right, that's going to help your legacy. But is a more important part of your legacy the charitable aspect of it? All of the stuff that you've done outside of the cage, the Good Fight Foundation. Would you rather be remembered for that, or be remembered as being one of the greatest fighters of all time? Or is it equally as important?
And that's a tough one. I'd have to give you a real answer. I'd have to think about that for a while, probably. But off the top of my head, it's equal. Of course, for me, I want to have that history. I want to have that history book. I want my name in there. And but I fight for a lot of reasons. So it's a deep question, man. I'm very proud of the work me and the Good Fight Foundation has done, and I feel like that transcends fighting. I fight for a lot of reasons. I'm proud for the reasons I fight for me and my family, and I'm proud for the reach that the Good Fight gets and the publicity and the platform the Good Fight gets with my fighting. So I put all that on my back, and I carry it proudly, man. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it is a tough question because when you think of your family and the people around you, I'm sure that they'd rather remember, Dustin helped donate, raise $5 million for charity or whatever the number ends up being, because this charity is going to continue beyond your fight time, than be one of the great athletes of all time. Like you think of the philosophical part of it, and it is again a very tough thing to reckon with.
Yeah, it is. Fighting means so much to me. It's been my passion. It's been my focus and my goal to be the undisputed world champion. But as we grow and mature through life, different things mean more to us. We realize the position we're in, and I know how much people I can help with this platform and with the fighting and with the bringing awareness to causes and needs that people have that don't have that megaphone or that main line to the audiences and to the rest of the world like I do with ESPN and with interviews like this. That fighting has provided me to be that voice, and I don't take that lightly.
And finally, a much easier question to answer, a lot more straightforward. This Tuesday, your birthday. What do you have planned on Fight Island?
My wife, I think, will be out of quarantine on my birthday, so there's my present. My wife is flying to Abu Dhabi as we speak. She's on her way to Vegas to start the quarantine process there. So that's it. It'll be good to see my wife.
All right. Well, a happy birthday to you. Coming up, number 32. Really, the true prime of, I think, a mixed martial artist is 32. And you're entering your prime. You're hitting your stride, and you're going to be facing Conor McGregor in the main event of UFC 257. It's Dustin Poirier's world. We're just living in it. I appreciate your time. Thank you for this.
Thanks, man.